This is a book I wrote. The name of the book is On Your Brush, Chapter 2 by Rebeca Flott. Are you living in a house of fear? We teach our children to color inside of the lines and then expect adults to think outside of the box. Frank Snowberg. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destiny. C.S. Lewis. I want to tell you a lesson I learned from a little story from my childhood. Growing up in Brazil, we were called middle class, enough to survive, not much to thrive in the area of creativity. Mom had a book collection by Monteiro Lobato, and those books were full of drawing, all white and black. It was a very expensive collection for us, and many Brazilians had those books, and they were very, very popular. Well, here's the thing. As a kid, I always wanted to color in them. But my mom said what most parents might occasionally say: no, you won't color inside of the lines, you'll mess them up. Eventually those books were lost in a move, and I tried to rescue them after many years, but never found them. However, I learned a valuable lesson from this experience. It's okay not to color inside of the lines. Thomas Vasquez says, no one ever discovered anything new by coloring inside of the lines. Isn't that so true? How many of us have those voices saying, no, 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 you will make a mess out of this? Here is your choice. Believe and never color, or choose to try knowing that you can mess it up and eventually really enjoy the art you do. I want to talk to you as artists about this, because we can be tempted to think we need to be perfect. If you think you have to be perfect in something before you can be an artist and consider yourself professional, you are mistaken. I never color right. Today, in the society we live in, sometimes have to be okay with color outside of the lines. Of course, we need to have our integrity and always do what is right and what is moral. But when it comes to art, I want to challenge you to go outside of the lines and make something you feel like making. Try, fail, try again, and win. To be an artist, you have to be brave. Whatever they think of what you do, you should be the first person who comes into mind. Evan Carmack. You do not have to live in a house of fear. If you are there, open the door and say, get out. Find a new place for yourself. Close the door and say, I do not belong here, and I will not be coming back to visit. Right there, make a decision to not visit. When you feel your soul is craving fear, look through the neighborhood where the house is and say, not on my watch. That place is not for me. Go be like an eagle. In the midst of the journey, you will find other eagles, and that will be able to soar together with trust. Trust me, I get it. Many times I feel alone. I felt unloved. Sometimes people's words were harsh and painful, but I had to choose to move away from the toxic things. Find people like you, the eagle friends, and say, let's soar together, let's fly. What do you see? What do I see? Let's tackle our fears. Let's rise above and create things that matters, because this is who we are, eagles, in the midst of a world full of birds. How to not sabotage yourself. You don't have to be like anyone else. Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree It will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Einstein. Let's talk about perfectionism. It's absolutely exhausting and untenable to be perfect. Yet somehow we allow that to immobilize us. You may not feel perfect, you may not fit in, but that doesn't mean you don't have value. With your imperfection, there is something perfect that the world needs from you. I want to challenge you to think about the things you love that are not perfect. Pursue those. People are not looking for copies of successful people. They are looking for originals. Your greatest gift is that you are the only you that it is. It's the gift inside of you. Start celebrating your difference, your uniqueness, talents, and unique vision, and I guarantee you'll race to the top. If you always color instead of the lines, the picture never changes. As artists, our lives can look quite a bit different than others around us. Maybe, on average, a person in a day may go to work and then go work out and then watch some shows. But we know the creative process is different. If you are an entrepreneur on top of being an artist, then of course your life looks different too. If you are like me and have millions of projects, that is very different too. To tackle everything, including our daily list, it can be exhausting. I have noticed many people are addicted to perfectionism. It can also be so alive in people and so real that literally freezes them from taking action. Striving to be awesome and striving for excellence is amazing, but there is a balance. Brené Brown says it likes this. Perfectionism is the 20-pound shield we carry around, hoping that it will keep us from being hurt, when in truth, what it does is to keep us from being seen. So, what is the difference between perfectionism and thriving for excellence? Perfectionism is when we believe that when we look perfect, think perfect, act perfect, we're going to avoid pain. It is so easy to live and act out at our past experiences. It is tempted to live in an avoidance of frustration, difficult, or pain. But let's not choose it that way. Let's aim for excellence. Excellence shows up in our lives when we say, I may not be the best, but I'm going to go for anyway. I'm going to do the best I know how, with what I have to work with. It's a lot easier to move forward when we are actually moving forward. Don't fear moving backwards. You will learn, grow, and adjust as you step out. You can change your life by thinking in a new way. Here's an example. You can look at your front yard and be frustrated to see dandelions growing. Or you can choose to remember how you were loved, pick them up with your father as a child. That changes the view of the dandelion. It's really in how we choose to see and how you will experience life. How you see the world and how you will experience life. I want to challenge you to have the courage to be imperfect. Here's a personal story I can give you on my own journey. My house, for example, is not always organized. I do keep it very clean. I work from home and my office does not look like other artists who share their offices on social media. They have white, clean walls, no painting anywhere. I work with thousands of brushes at once, and I have paint platters everywhere. Whatever I think of sharing my workspace with the people, I hesitate because it's not quite perfect. I have learned to embrace myself, my uniqueness process, and my workspace. There is always room to improve, but I'm not harsh towards myself for being different. I choose to be imperfect and show up anyway. We can't let perfectionism stop us. Learn how to silence that voice. Learn how to innovate, be creative. Have the courage to share who you are and what you have to offer. Say with confidence, "This is my song, I made it." Have fun in just creating. If you are using to have a critical spirit around, you have got to learn how to block that out. This is a very particular to artists. Have you ever had art in a show and someone asks, "How long did you take to do this?" And you struggle to answer. How can I put it into a definite answer? It took years for you to learn techniques, to practice. It took time to master your skill. It took time to imagine the outcome of this piece. We know the answer wouldn't be, "Oh, it took me 20 minutes." I remember when I started my podcast, I didn't even want to tell my friends I had a podcast because it wasn't in the place I wanted to be. I was tempted to move forward and allow myself to be seen imperfectly. I had to get over that. I am invited you to do the same. Brené Brown says this, and it's so true. Where perfectionism exists, shame is always lurking. When we avoid moving forward in boldness, when we avoid opening up the business or starting the podcast, it's because there is an undwelling fear of shame. We need to strangle that out. Don't give it any air to breathe. Go forward. This is your time. Give yourself permission to do your best and to show off what you create. Don't drop the mic, drop the brush, and say, "It is not good enough." Give yourself grace and do it again and again and again. I've seen artists give up on their dreams because they are not good enough. But I also see artists who didn't feel good enough push it through and become successful. We get to choose our step forwards. Have the courage to show up, allow your art to be seen, regardless of what anyone else has said to you. You have to speak to yourself. Let it go, let it be. There are paintings you need to release. There are songs you need to sing. There's people you need to encourage, and you have a voice to do it. Everyone is so deeply different. There is a space for everyone. Courage is the birthplace for creativity and joy. Many people look to be qualified as something specific. They want to have the label of an artist, poet, songwriter, blog, maybe. You don't need a job title. Just because there's not a title doesn't mean there's not an opportunity there. To appreciate the beauty of snowflakes, it's necessary to stand in the cold. A lot of artists let their art die because isn't it perfect and they don't feel ready. I heard a girl say, "Dreams, they don't have an expiration date." I don't agree at all. If you wait too long, they will expire. If you don't release this book for the next 10 years, the creative process will change. It will not be a timely message I wanted to share. When you have something in your heart, like a book or a business, work to release it. Set a date to release it. If you don't release it, the message will not be prevalent. You will get better and better. It's like exercising your gift. The temptation for perfectionism doesn't allow you to do that. The perfectionism says you have to run a marathon without any training, so there's no time to exercise what is in you. No one is fully ready. This is the part of living in a house of fear. Find the roots of why you want to be perfect and why are you just comparing yourself. Become a creator, not a duplicator. I encourage you to own your own pattern. Look at someone you admire, but stop and remember that you have your own voice. We as artists never have the opportunity to grow if we're looking to do just what others are doing. Instead, boldly offer what is in you, even if it's not perfect. If you never felt it isn't perfect enough, there is truly something that you will rob your career, your joy in your life. Don't try to be perfect. We have weakness. I have to go through exactly what I'm sharing with you. I grew up in a generation of artists where success looked like having your canvas hanging in a gallery. I tried to fit into that, painting on canvas. I looked to others to see how successful they were. But I had to find my own way, my own brush. I challenge you to exercise your creativity and your ideas of who you are, to be and embrace your unique opportunity and create something new. This was the end of Chapter 2, Own Your Brush by Rebeca Flott.